Hey everybody, it is now officially 2022, our first year at the Homestead, and we're going to give you a little wrap up of what we did this year, our accomplishments, and some of our failures. So check it out.
So before we moved, we had talked about turning our home into a homestead, kind of what that would look like. One of the things that I really wanted to do was spend a year really focused on living seasonally. So we moved in winter, and basically just what that, a very quick overview of what that would look like is the things that we do, the things that we eat are all like seasonal things. I just wanted to really jump into that rhythm and take advantage of that and just kind of see what that looked like for our lives. And so we moved here in winter, and so winter was really sort of about rest. And after such a long process of building, getting to come in and rest was, I think, nice.
Yeah.
It was really nice. And then throughout the other seasons, they were very specific things that we did. So the first season was winter. So what did we do when we first moved?
When we first moved, we unboxed. We mucked around in all the mud outside because we didn't have our driveway.
We did not.
We didn't have any grass. We didn't have...
It was a house sitting on
just dirt, which was mud at that time.
Yeah, we didn't have fencing for anything.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, which was ironic when we put up the fence. Our neighbor behind us, he came up and was like, "Didn't you guys take that fence down a while ago?" I was like, "Yes, we did."
When we bought the land,
yeah,
it was fully fenced in, and we took it down because we were convinced that we were going to build, but we weren't going to need fencing for anything.
Yeah, because at that time we didn't have plans. We were like going to take up the whole 2 acres for the house itself.
We thought, we're so silly.
So it's a very good thing that we waited this long to finally build, and that we had to wait this long to finally build because our focus changed completely.
Yes.
And we did not need a 2-acre house.
We did not.
Yeah, we had to put the fence back up, and the neighbor's like, "Oh, why'd you take that down?" And we're like, "Well, we didn't know we were going to do that." So we put it back up, and he laughed at me.
And so that was our winter. And then we jumped into spring. And spring was when the homestead really started taking shape for us. So we had our home, but it was really started becoming a homestead in springtime. So when we moved, we had some chickens, just not a ton. I don't remember how many we had.
Well, we had like 15, 20.
No, we didn't.
Yes, we did.
No, we didn't. We had one duck, and we maybe had 10 chickens. You know.
We did have the Resurrected Chicken.
We did.
Which was thanks to me.
Thanks to you. So tell us about the Resurrected Chicken.
So I came home from work. I had a call or a message earlier in the day saying that we lost a chicken. Did it get attacked by a dog?
I think so.
So it was attacked by a dog, and they saw it out in the yard, and like, yeah, it's dead. And I was like, okay, well, I'll take care of it when I get home. So I got home, I looked outside, all our chickens were put away because they put them all in their pen, except for one was walking around the pen trying to get inside. And I was like, okay, well, that chicken must have got out because sometimes they did that. So I went out there and I counted the chickens, and there was the exact amount that we were supposed to have, which whatever it was, 36 or whatever it was. And I was like, wait a minute. So I counted again just to make sure, and it was the exact amount. So I went inside and I was like, how many chickens do we have? And they said, well, we have whatever many. I was like, well, that's how many I counted. I thought we lost one. I'm like, yeah, we did. And I looked at that chicken that was walking around, and it was like, had the ruffled feathers. It looked like it had gone through a hard time in its life. So I was like, well, it must have not actually been dead. And so I called the kids out and called her out, and they came and was like, yeah, that's the chicken that got mauled.
Yeah, we went and looked in the field where we had found it.
Yeah.
There was no chicken.
Not there. Yeah, so it was just, I guess, playing dead. Maybe it was in shock or something. And so anyway, if you come across a chicken that you think is dead, make sure that it's dead before you do whatever you're going to do with it. Because this one was very not dead.
Yes.
So that was cool.
Thinking about it now, it kind of fits for our first year.
Mhm.
Like that is sort of what our whole first year kind of felt like to me.
Where it was dead.
Where
really?
it felt like failures, but in
Mhm.
the end, it wasn't. So in the spring, we really focused on fencing. We did a lot of fencing.
Mhm.
We got fences up for our dogs. That was like the first thing that we had to do. And then fences up for a chicken area, which we'll talk a little bit about
What that's gonna turn into?
what that's going to turn into later. Because that was another one that I think it seemed like a great idea, and then it seemed like not a great idea
Yeah.
in the end. So
Just
we
do the math of putting the dogs next to the chickens.
yes.
Yeah.
So
Seems obvious now, right?
it really does. Yeah. It really does. So we got our fencing up for those, and then we decided it was time, for whatever reason, to take on
This was a curveball.
some bigger livestock.
Yeah.
Yes.
This was out of nowhere.
It was out of nowhere in the fact that it wasn't something that we like started our year planning.
Mhm.
But I think it was something that we
Yeah,
had thought
talked
about.
about,
We had
yeah.
talked about. We had thought about a lot, and that was
We got horses.
we got horses. We got 2 horses. So Honey and Angus, and they are just precious and ornery and so much fun. But horses meant more fencing.
Yeah.
And one of the reasons that I really wanted to get horses is because we only have 2 acres, but for us, 2 acres is a lot of land to maintain. And if you have tall grass, you're more likely to have things like snakes and other animals that'll come in and take the chickens and the ducks. And so we wanted to avoid that. And so that meant getting bigger livestock that would eat that grass and keep it down for us, so that it wasn't something that we were having to do.
Yeah. I did not want to mow that.
No, neither did I.
Yeah, but that was the talk that we had earlier. And it was just like, we got to do something.
Yeah.
But then all of a sudden,
Yes, so I started really praying. I wanted horses. I've wanted horses for a long time. And so I started really praying that God would just give us the perfect horses. And it happened so
real fast.
so fast. It was just we started really discussing it, and I think it was like that weekend.
Yeah, it was like a week,
It
maybe
was
2 weeks.
so fast, and we were able to find 2 horses that a previous owner just wasn't able to spend the time with, that they wanted to spend the time with them, and so we were able to take advantage of that, which was so nice. And so they delivered them, and it just so happened that at that time we had a friend here.
Yeah.
First visitor on the homestead.
From out of town. It's a friend that I grew up with. I went to school with him in elementary. He lived like 2 or 3 blocks from me, so we'd walk to each other's houses all the time. Go play Street Fighter at the arcade at the laundromat. Play wrestling in his front yard. It was just a childhood friend. And I came and he helped me put the fence up. And stayed until the horses came.
Yeah, it was pretty cool.
And it was just cool to have him here for, for 3 days?
Yeah.
But also, he took some dirt from our property.
Yes.
Before he left. He was just collecting some dirt. He took it home and he made little like horse bus out of the clay from our dirt. And he gave it to us, I think, when we went back over to California to visit, which is really cool. I'll show you a picture of it. So shout out to you, Dan. Thank you for that, for coming through and for making that stuff for us. The kids really loved having him around this evening too.
Yeah, that was really cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that was our spring. So as a family, we were really focused on sort of building some infrastructure projects and really focusing on starting our garden.
Yeah.
So I had a goal of being a little bit more self-sustaining. There's some stability in that, but also like having the ability to share with other people, and making sure that we can take care of our family, but also take care of anybody else that is around us that needs it. And so I really like that idea. So I decided that we were going to start our garden this year, and so I decided to just plop it down in a tiny little plot of land in the front, and that
did not work out.
It didn't work out well.
Yeah. So the first year of gardening, no good.
Not a success. Not a success. So I grew
Even
up,
though there's still something. What is that?
a rosemary plant.
Rosemary plant?
Yes.
That looks pretty good.
Yes,
It's
our rosemary
pretty
plant, and so we've had a lot of focaccia bread with rosemary. It's pretty much I think I ended up with like 3 tomatoes and a pepper that I thought was a jalapeno, but wasn't spicy.
It didn't work out. I ran into a guy at work that he was like, yeah, I got these cherry tomatoes and I can't get them to stop growing. I give them to people and they can't get them to start
growing.
Yeah, they didn't grow for us.
No. No, and I grew up with a garden, but my dad always did it, and so I didn't really learn how to do it, and so that's becoming like a learning process for us.
Yeah, there's a lot.
There's a lot to it.
Prune and
Yes.
and water and then don't water and then
weed.
Yeah.
And fertilize. It's a lot.
Yeah.
And where we put it probably wasn't the best solution.
Yeah. The soil there I don't think was good.
Yeah. So our plan was a great plan, but in the end,
That's
chicken
what
wasn't
happens when
roasted.
you don't know what you're doing.
Yes. So not everything was a success in our first year for sure, and that was definitely one of them that wasn't. But it doesn't mean that we're not going to try again.
Right.
Yes. So it worked out really well until it came time to actually implement some of it in the summer, and that's when our garden.
Yeah.
It wasn't good. It was a good try.
Yeah.
Good first effort.
We get like V+ for effort.
Yeah. But we were so blessed though, with several different families and some really good sales at like local farm stores, and then friends that gave us stuff that they were able to get out of their garden, which is great. And so we spent a lot of time this summer putting food away, and so we learned how to can a lot of stuff. Yeah, me. Not you. You learned to eat it, and that was really good. But yeah, so I spent a lot of time learning how to preserve the things that we weren't growing yet, but I'm hoping this next summer that's going to be a bigger focus. We sort of have learned the ropes with the horses now, and so we're able to put more focus this year on our garden. And so we learned how to preserve. So summer was really all about work, and we spent a lot of time outside, and we spent a lot of time in the kitchen when it was hot, peeling tomatoes and peaches and apples and all of those things that now we're able to really enjoy. So summer was all about work. We did end up having another family that came and stayed with us in the summer, and that was really fun. So
because one of the goals too was to have people come over and hang out, especially if they come from out of town, because for me it's usually my friends that I don't get to see much because they're in California or other places that they've moved to. So having people over has been cool. So everybody's
really
everybody's been from California coming over here.
And your parents came too.
Yeah, my parents came. We had 2 families come, including my parents.
Yeah, we did. Yeah, for the summer. So we were able to host, and that was really fun. People are really enjoying coming out and riding the horses. And, we love it. We hope more people do. Which is nice. So that was our summer. Our summer was work, and it was hard, and it was laborious, but in the end, it was worth it, and I'm pretty excited about what 2022 is going to hold for us with that. So in the fall, we started to kind of gear down a little bit. I switched my focus a lot on what I was preserving to storing things for the winter. And so we started storing up a lot more dry goods and meats in our freezers, got those full, and making things like chicken stock. I make a lot of like soups and things that are just warming to the soul in the fall and in the winter. And so it was time for us to kind of start filling our pantry shelves and our freezers with those things. And so that was a big focus. And our fall was great. We had another family come through. And then probably the biggest thing that we did in the fall is we decided that it was time to get a barn.
Yeah.
Do you want to tell them about the barn?
That's been a process.
That's been
So first we had to decide how we wanted our barn to look like.
Yep.
So we spent some time doing that. Like, do we want it to be a big barn? Do we want it to be a smaller one? Do we want it to be a garage? Do we want it to be whatever? So we decided that we're going to have an all-in-one barn. So it has a stall for the horses, it's got storage area, and then it's got the chicken coop area all in one. The only thing we had to do was level out the land, which was a whole other process. And again, I don't know what I'm doing, so I rented this machine and I'm just like going at it, like trying to level out this land, and I'm making holes, and all right, I gotta cover that back up now. I ended up running out of time. One of the church members has a machine that he's like, oh, you should have just told me, I could have done that for you. And I was like, okay, well, good to know now. That was my bad. So he came and he started helping to finish out the land. We ran into a drain pipe that we had no idea was back there, and so it started draining gray water into the land. So we had to stop doing that. I had to fix that pipe and then continue leveling out the land. We finally got it pretty level now. The barn was finished and dropped off during that whole time, but since it wasn't ready because of the pipe issue, they just dropped it off in kind of a random area where it's still sitting right now.
Yeah.
Hopefully this coming week that'll get done, and then that'll be set.
So we've been really lucky. The end of fall and the start of winter, we have been really lucky with the weather. So it has
so far
not been crazy cold until right now. And so we had to blanket our horses and sort of try to winterize as much as we can for those guys. And hopefully this next week we will be able to actually set them up in their horse stalls, which we are pretty happy about finally having done. In the fall, we also were able to add to our flock. So we have lost, I don't even know how many chickens we have lost. We have around 20. Now we've also added some ducks.
I think we've only got 2 OGs now.
I think so, yeah. So we have a lot more ducks than we did before, which, you know,
I like having ducks.
Yeah, they're funny to watch, but they are messy.
Yeah.
And gross. But we get a lot of eggs from the ducks right now.
Yeah.
The chickens have kind of slowed down.
They're so good.
Yeah.
I can taste the nutrients.
They're not good. I don't like the duck eggs.
I like them.
But, you know, to each their own. So we are, as soon as our barn gets moved, we're going to start moving some animals around and sort of redoing some fencing a little bit here and there.
Mm-hmm.
But for the most part, we're done with outside because it's winter. So we've made our full year of living like a seasonal life. And I'm gonna do another video where I'm talking a little bit more about a little bit more in depth about the foods that we're eating, because the truth is like the work that you do, of course, is seasonal, but we have been eating very seasonally too, which has been helpful on the budget, but also what we're actually eating is what is tasting the best right now, which is great.
Yeah, but that's the progress for now. The progress and the degress.
Yeah.
Is that a word?
I don't think we've had digression. I think that we have had a resurrected chicken.
Yeah.
You know, it
We'll
has
focus on that.
it has looked dead from time to time.
That's right, but it's not. There's life there.
Yeah, there's life there.
We're gonna keep pushing forward.
Yes, absolutely. So stay tuned. Hopefully we will be more intentional in our uploads this year. That's our goal. And so yeah.
Yep. So if you got any questions, let us know. If you want to come visit, you're welcome. Just let us know also.
Yeah.
Don't show up here.
Yeah.
Like with your bags packed and like, hey,
That would be uncomfortable.
awkward.
All right, guys. Happy New Year.